So here's the other piece that we're going to be doing. First thing Nolan's doing is putting some Mod Podge on it. And the second thing I'm doing is just going through the different rice papers, and I'm going to cover it. Could use it natural, could paint it, but I'm going to cover it, I think, and see how that looks. And then I decided to use a little, from the dollar store, cute little pictures as a focal point on the top of that. So we'll see how that works, and I will show you guys when I get away from this step, see where we are, okay? So as I'm going on, guys, I found that the green was too light. If you look at the green just with the bunny, it was almost blending into the background. So I've started to add some blue, and you guys can fiddle around and do this as you go. I'm not sure where I'll end up. I may find that I kind of wanted to keep it natural colors, like it was a woodland scene, but I may find that it's not even a good focal point and may want to get something darker. That doesn't blend as neutral tones as these are, or maybe I'll figure something else out. I just wanted you to see that there's lots of options when you do something like this. So it may be that these colors are just too close and I'll pick something else. But just keep that in mind as you're doing your decoupage, okay? So I've decided to go ahead and use the bunny more. Not so much because it's my favorite, because I find that it does blend in too much, but I wanted maybe just to try it in case you guys are ever doing your decoupage and you run into trouble with something like this and you're like, oh, I don't like it so much. So what I'm going to try to do is to see how it'll look eventually when I add in, I'm going to try to add in some other parts and just brighten it up and see how it does, okay? And as you saw there, we get more wrinkles on the thicker part of the paper. The thinner rice paper is perfect for laying down, but the thicker, just a regular piece of paper, had more bumps in it, so you want to push those out. If it's a bigger paper, you want to use what we call a brayer, and I've written that down in the instructions you guys will get. So yeah, so we'll see where we go from here, and I'll get back to it, and then we'll see what our next steps are. So one thing I'm noticing about the rice paper is it's sort of really unforgiving. In other words, if you touch it too much, you see how that pops up right there, and it kind of gets fuzzy. It kind of starts falling apart if you get too much layering. I started putting some other elements of regular paper on top, and it's not real happy. It tends to want to, if it gets, it holds the wetness a lot. And if you rub on it, it gets mushy. So I think you better plan with the rice paper very carefully, probably not layer it a lot, probably do one layer. Here I had done two, and it's still sticky and kind of defuzzing. This is the regular paper that I'm working with to try to get, I don't know, trying to look like we can see something in this. I think in a way it would have been better to have painted this white because it looks like the rice paper just takes on the color of whatever's underneath it. It's just that thin. So I'll probably paint all yours before I send them to you. But I'll keep working on this and we'll see how we do. So one of the tactics I've discovered that I'm going to try to use is to try to bump out the bunny so we can see him. So I've took some paper towel. I sometimes use the glue stick, but on this type of work, I'll just use paper. I cut out a second picture of the bunny, and when I glue him down, it's hard to do with one hand. When I glue him down and I re-glue the ears down, you're going to see that he kind of pops out from the background, and that'll be helpful when you get things that are just not, they're blending too much, like we've ended up with here. And that's why I wanted to do it, so you guys could see what sometimes happens. So you want to pay attention to your colors, because you can lose your focal point, your central picture, if they all are too close in color. So let's see how we're going to fix this now. So to see where we are now, you can see Non has three-dimensional eyes, like the ear that sticks up here. I did the tail. I left a little fluff on it because I liked it. And I did the front of the body once. I did the head twice. I need to get it to dry. So that kind of pulls the bunny out so you can see him better. That's a physical way to do it with the paper. The other thing that I did is I put some brighter colors on there, but still I find him fading into the background, which I kind of knew he would because I could tell the colors were very close in the background. So normally if you were going to do this, you would want to put the dark colors behind the bunny first. But I kind of wanted to do this just to show you in case this ever happens to you. Now we're going to let this dry, and then we'll see what we do next to try to bring him out a little bit more. But those are a couple of things that you can do if you have extra pictures. I'm going to teach you that in another thing about paper cutting and things you can do, but you can see I kind of three-dimensionalized him a little bit so that when we see the picture, he's gonna stand out. It's still wet, so it looks wrinkly, but I think it'll be good when it dries. Okay, guys, so we'll leave that for now, and we'll be back to finish this off. So you guys, I finished this up tonight, and look how much nicer it is. So I'm going to show you what I did, just so you know. So when you run into the problem that I showed you tonight, where the colors are blending too much and you're not getting the look that you want, so we went over the raising the paper and that type of thing. What I took then was this color here, just cheap paint. Took a little bit with water and just kind of stained in the background here and there with that color. And I took just a couple cheapy old pens, drawing a little bit of grass. And last but not least, one of my very favorite things in the whole world, which you should all get, are these acrylic paints that have a pearlized effect or a glowing effect. There's a set, and they all have all different colors. So in this case, I used a bluish tone. And you can see how beautiful that turned out, where it kind of sparkles. I put it on the mushroom base, and I put it all over the bunny, so he kind of shines, right? So, so there you go. So that's how we managed to, I don't know if you can see it, the light's not that great, but managed to get it so that this turned out actually looking quite nice, rather than blending in the background like it had initially. Hard to see, I think, but it turned out really cute. So there you guys go. Now you know what to do if you run into this problem again. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.